Hi, I'm Emma. And this is Stu. And this little bundle of energy is my son Finley. When we're not out and about exploring lost history, or up to our knees in mud, we like nothing more than escaping the rat race of life and creating memories together. So thanks for joining us, and welcome to the channel.
Hello and welcome to The Great Escapers.
And this week we're actually doing something a little bit different. In fact, we're actually doing something that we have actually never ever done before, have we? Because we are off on a road trip and we don't really have a plan other than we're heading up north towards Derbyshire.
That's it. Our plan started off yesterday. I got a week off work, Emma's got a week off work, and as you know, Finley's on school leave at the moment. Holidays. So what we decided to do was go to Derbyshire, and the first thing was to park in a layby. We decided to go halfway just to cut the trip a little bit, didn't we?
That's it, yes. We arrived quite late last night. We are at the moment not far from Sleaford in Lincolnshire. That's around about the halfway point from where we live in East Norfolk. And we're up, we've had a cup of tea, and we're going to head the rest of the way. I think we're heading to Castleton because, of course, if you're going to do a little bit of sort of van-lifey things, you have to head to Castleton apparently. Yeah. So that's where we're going. So
let's buckle up and go and escape.
Right, we'll see you when we get there. Welcome to Castleford. It took us about 2.5 hours, didn't it, to get from where we were parked on, I think it was the A17 at Sleaford. Loads and loads of big laybys there if you're ever heading through that area and you're looking for somewhere just to park up for the night. We had quite a nice, reasonably quiet night there. But we are currently, of course, parked on the Old Mam Tor road. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably know exactly where it is. And we managed to find pretty much the last parking space, I think, wasn't it?
I've literally
We didn't expect it to be quite so busy, but we're about halfway down I think the sort of southern part of the road. But we're going to carry on up here until we actually meet the Old Broken Road. And then I think we're going to sort of walk around there until we join up with the other part of it. But we'll show you when we get there.
So let's go.
So we're just walking along the road and we can see why we struggle to park. Look at it, it's just, well, mainly camper vans and motorhomes everywhere. But just behind me here, we've actually got Trek Cabin, which is one of the show cabins that you can visit. I mean, I've not done that one before, but supposedly it's quite nice. I think there's about 3 at least cabins around Castleton that you can sort of touristy underground caves and things. I mean, the clue's in the name that you can visit. But like I said, we're going to follow this hopefully to the end, because where we've actually parked today, like I said, it was really the only parking space we could find at the time. But we're rather hoping, aren't we, Stu, to be able to find something a little bit flatter, because we're on quite a bit of a camber at the moment. But I mean, the views here, look at this, absolutely stunning. I mean, this is what we came for, really, for the views. But we'll carry on walking, and like I said, we'll just take you along with us. So just in the distance there, we've actually got Mam Tor, which is quite a well-known sort of peak to climb up to around here. Me and Stu did it, and Finley actually, several years ago. I've got a little video on our channel, I'll maybe pop a link in below if you want to see it. But you can walk all the way along the ridge. I think the next one might be Loose Hill, possibly. We haven't done that one. But there's plenty of parking down here, and this is quite a popular place to park, I think, to do Mam Tor. But the higher up we get, the more stunning it's getting. And we've got just the village of Castleton just down there, which is quite lovely. But we're going to continue along the old road, and then maybe when we get a bit further, we'll actually tell you a little bit about why we keep calling this the Old Broken Road.
And here we are, we've just arrived at the first beginning of the Broken Road.
Well, this is the end of the part that you can actually reach with vehicles, and just behind us we've actually got a bit of a turning point, because obviously it's quite narrow to get up there, isn't it?
It is.
But if you'd have travelled down here right up until I think the end of the 1970s, you could have possibly been travelling from Manchester to Sheffield. This was actually one of the main roads, through routes, avoiding Winnates Pass, of course, which was very steep and not really suitable, because I think this road was built in about 1819. And although it's got quite a sharp hairpin bend in it, it was a little bit more gradual of a gradient. But we'll tell you a little bit more about the story as to why this is actually an abandoned road now as we walk along it.
That's it. Well, we're on the road, and it's quite obvious that we're on a road, because we turn the camera around. You see all the old road markings.
Actually, look, you can see where Cat's Eyes used to be.
Look, all down here.
So clearly quite a major road once upon a time, and this was actually known as the A625 when it was still being used.
Yeah, but you can see the cracks. I mean, there's some serious cracks in this road, and I think Emma was saying that this road was repaired like 5 times.
Majorly repaired.
Majorly repaired 5 times, and then I think one summer it dropped 6 mil or 6 centimetres or something.
I think in around 1976, I think there was a really dry summer and a really wet winter or something like that, and the road actually dropped 600 millimetres.
600 millimetres.
Which is quite drastic if you think about it. And at that point, I think it had already been reduced down to single lane anyway. And they just gave up and went, do you know what, this is costing too much money for us to keep fixing. But of course, the problem why the subsidence in this road is so bad is because this mountain, Mam Tor, is actually known, I think, as the Shivering Mountain. The reason being that it's made of shale. And so, of course, there's going to be continuous landslides, isn't there?
I'm really sorry, but look at the camber on that. I mean, if anyone was going around that, they'd literally tilt. Yeah. Into the bushes there. I know Emma's talking, but I'm looking at that going, I wouldn't drive down here.
So basically this road is slipping down the mountain as it travels with the shale, which is obviously, it's just a natural thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
You get landslides all the time, but clearly not a good idea to build such a major road on it. But as we'll see as we go along, this part actually isn't that bad. Believe it or not.
No.
It actually gets a lot worse as we go along. Up.
All right then, well, we're going to carry on walking, and I suppose we'll turn on where we see a bit more interesting and maybe a little bit of information.
Yep. So as you can see, you've got the road behind us, and other than being a little bit undulating, it doesn't actually resemble much worse than some of the roads that we actually have today in the UK. But when you get to here, it's when you really see sort of quite the impact. And I'll just take you for a little look, because we're actually walking along here, and look at the way it dips. Of course, it never would have done that back in those days, but the road actually would have carried on along here. And gosh, look at that. I mean, these huge chunks of tarmac now that just slowly slipping down this mountain really over the years. And you can only imagine that eventually it'll probably end up all down there. But gosh, I mean, look at this. This is really quite bad. But we've got to actually get back up there on where this originally used to be, because like I said, this is nothing compared to what we've got up there. So let's get up there and we'll take you for a look. So we're just leaving that hairpin just behind us, just like casually walk in until we get to this, and I'll take you for a closer look, because you can see where the white lines sort of pretty much were here, and whoop, there you go, good 2 meters drop down there. And of course it would have once continued gradually up and gone along there, but I mean, wow. I mean, that's quite incredible, isn't it?
What amazes me though, there is actually no road here. Where the shale has dipped, it's actually taken the road like a wave.
It has.
And just pulled it all the way down there. So all this is the underneath hardcore. The actual road has ended up down there. That's actually pretty impressive.
It has. I mean, this has moved with the best part of at least 20 metres.
Yeah.
And if we just take you for a look down here, these huge boulders of tarmac now are literally slipping down, and eventually they will all end up down there. But I mean, this is quite incredible to think. Like I said earlier, that up until about 50 years ago, there was cars going up and down this.
Yeah, but Emma, didn't they actually mess up a little bit here? They actually caused their own problem on this road,
They
didn't
actually did. And when we get down the bottom and take a bit of a closer look at this tarmac, we'll actually tell you a little bit about why fixing this road actually made it worse.
That's it. So let's go.
Let's get down there and have a look. We just come down along here and sort of made our way over these boulders of tarmac, because I actually wanted to show you the layers of this road. Because it's something like nothing I've ever really seen before. It's actually quite amazing. If you look at over all these years, I think I said sort of 5 times they did major road repairs, but you can really see the layers of the original sort of shale and the tarmac, the more layers and layers. And gosh, there must be at least 8 different layers here, if you can just about make that out, where they tried to fix this over all those years. And of course, like most major roads, it would have had a bit of a system for drainage. But I was saying to you up there that trying to fix this road actually made the situation worse. Because of course, with this being a moving mountain, this shivering mountain, the more layers of tarmac they put on, the heavier the road actually got. And of course, the heavier the road got, the more weight it had to slip down. And I do believe that by fixing it, of course they couldn't leave it like it was, but by fixing it, they actually made the situation even worse. And I suppose that's why in the late 70s they actually completely gave up. But we've got some interesting features just in front of me here, so I'll turn around and we'll show you those.
So here comes Emma and Finley from looking at the layers of the road, and the heaviness, the more heavier it got, the more likely it was to slip. But we are finding some really good features here, aren't we, Emma?
There is. There's actually a lot more to see here than what I actually thought there was going to be.
And obviously this is an escapers video, not an exploring video, but we are going to be showing you some bits. Like here, along here, you could see the old road barriers, and they're sort of the old concrete, actually concreted in. You can see them here, obviously been taken out over time.
Yeah.
And the old sewage system. We've got one up there where the road maybe should have been.
So I believe up there is actually the original height of where the road was. Yeah. And of course, everything that we stood on down here has just slipped.
And that would make sense from the height of the road just there. And obviously this is all just slipped down to here. And then we've got another one here. We see this happening to pillboxes, not sewage systems.
Yeah, when they fall off the beaches. But yeah, this would have had a manhole cover on it, no doubt, and would have been connected to that pipe that I showed you just when I was showing you the layers. But
well, they're not sewage systems, they're over water, aren't they?
Drainage systems.
That's it, yeah. Just in case anyone gets a bit funny about that. But be very careful along here, it's very boggy. And we're meeting up with a part of the road now. So we're going to be heading up there, where hopefully we're going to see some more features. It's quite exciting. And the road is almost completely invisible here, isn't it? You can't even really determine where it would have been, but I think it would have actually been way up there. So we're going to carry on following this road around, and maybe we'll see you when we get towards the end. And so we've come to the end, or like I said, as the accessible part of the road, and just there is where it starts to crumble. And the bit that we're stood on here is barely a crack, barely a pothole. It's quite amazing, isn't it, Stu? It is actually, yeah.
But just up here, as you can see, there's quite a lot of cars and camper vans. And this is really where we're hoping maybe to be able to move our van to, if not maybe slightly further along the road where we were parked, because of course at the moment there's lots of people parked here for the day, but we're hoping, aren't we, Stu, to get a slightly nicer spot later on. But I mean, look at these people, at the view that they've actually got, looking over Castleton, the Hope Valley. I mean, it's beautiful. But I think that very much depends on whether or not we can get our car up to Winnates Pass, which is a really, really sort of steep hill. I mean, in our van, it's not the quickest, is it, Stu?
No,
so
not at all.
We're not too sure if we want to get the old girl up Winnates Pass, but we might give it a go. But if not, we're going to just keep on walking around the area and just taking in some of the shots. So we hope you enjoy our little walk. So we've just come off of the other side of the Old Mam Tor road, and we've just passed by Blue John's cabin, which Blue John being a mineral like a blue crystal. I think they only actually find it here, but you can actually go and visit the mines there, I think, and go on a little bit of a tour. But while I'm here, I thought I'd take the opportunity to let you know that actually this behind me is Mam Tor. I'm sure that there's plenty of you screaming out at the beginning of the video saying, no, what you're looking at isn't. But it's been many years since we climbed it, so I couldn't quite remember. But we're actually heading towards Winnates Pass now, hopefully, because there's some rather stunning scenery there. So if we make it that far, then we'll take you for a little look. So it's really, really windy here, as you can see. I mean, I don't even know how well you can hear me, but we've reached the top of Winnates Pass. I'm not going to get any closer because obviously I don't want to get blown off, but you can see the cars going downhill here. But we had a little look further up and we decided that maybe we didn't fancy taking the van up there after all to try and get to the broken road that's over here. But look at this absolutely stunning view overlooking Castleton. I mean, if you don't mind a little bit of a climb, it's not too bad actually at all. And the wind, because it always seems to be windy when we've come up here in the past, then you can be greeted with views like this. And if you just have a little look, like I said, we've got Castleton, and we've actually got the road that we drove down where all those camper vans are parked now. And if you just sort of continue a little bit, that's actually where we're parked at the moment. But it's a little bit precarious up here, but it's certainly worth it for the views. So we'll see if we can take a few shots, because like I said, it's really windy and I don't know how well you can hear me, of the rather iconic Winnates Pass. So we made it down off of the top there, and it looks a lot steeper in real life than it does on the camera. But Finney didn't enjoy that very much, and yeah, he seems to have gained some sheep poo on his bottom where he slipped. But we've actually reached the entrance, if I just turn you around, to Speedwell cabin. And this is the third cabin that we've come across. I'm not too sure actually what they mine here. Obviously there's a lot of lead mining that went on up here. But this is the one where you go on the boat and they take you for a little tour around the flooded caverns on a boat. Apparently it's not very good for the claustrophobic, but I've never actually done this one, so maybe in the future. But it's quite old. I think it's been here for a long, long time. But they've got a little shop, and I think Stu wants to get himself maybe a little bit of chocolate just to replenish his sugar levels a little bit after that climb. So we'll pop in here, and then we're going to carry on down the road into the town of Castleton. Stu's got himself a Mars bar, he's happy.
I
All's forgiven for taking him down that blooming mountain. So I guess this is the reason why they call this the Vanlife Mecca of the Peak District. Every single vehicle that's parked along here just about is either a motorhome or a camper van, about as far as the eye can see. But we've got to walk probably about half a mile up here, and like I said earlier, we're hoping that we might be able to move it a little higher up, because where we're parked is really on the slope. But if not, like everybody else, we'll always get the chocks out, I guess, and see if we can level it up a little bit. And there she is, just there, nearly back. And here we are, we managed to move up a little bit because we're hoping for a better view. And as you can see from our window of the van, that's just there, we've got quite a nice view overlooking the hills. I'm not quite sure exactly which hills these are, but we wanted to have a little bit of a view for the night, so yeah, I think this will do us just nicely. And so we're back in the van.
We are.
And as you can see, Stu's in his favourite chair. That's where he'll be for the night now. And we made ourselves a nice cup of tea. Finley's settled down, look. Yeah, he's back on the switch. But we can't grumble about the view for tonight, because it's certainly going to be, I don't know if we're going to be able to get any sort of sunrise in the morning or sunset. I'm not actually sure which direction we're facing in here. I think the sun is actually going to set over there. But anyway, still a lovely view. But I think everyone's happy. We're going to watch a little bit of Father of the Bride, I think.
Yeah, we
are. Chosen for us.
Yeah, we've got complete digital telly in here, which is good.
That's it, and that's actually a really good signal up here.
Yeah, it's 5G here.
And
yeah.
I'm on EE and Stu's on, no, you're on EE.
Yeah, you're on
I'm
O2.
on O2, and we've both got really good signals, so just in case you're interested. But anyway, I'm now going to fire up the cooker, because tonight we're going to have a curry. So we'll get on with that, and then we'll get back to you in a bit. So, I've got some dinner on the go. I'll wear my hat still, because my hair is absolutely shocking. Well, what have we got tonight? We got chicken korma. And for those of you that watched my Buxton video, I do promise I can actually cook something else. But that video, of course, was filmed like a month ago, so it's fine. But here we go. Let's have a little look, shall we? A bit of sauce there. I think this is a Sherwood's one, possibly. And some boil in the bag, rice, and of course, you can't have a curry without any of the garlic and coriander. Naan breads, which we're going to put under a little grill, hopefully. We've never used it before, but you know, we'll see how that goes. And here we go, here's the gang chilling out. Stu has not moved from that spot for about the last hour.
I haven't. Me and Finley are watching Gavin and Stacey at the moment.
There we go.
And I'm uploading a Patreon.
Right,
video.
So yeah, we put a little Patreon video together today, so that should hopefully be on the channel literally today.
Yeah.
But Finley is absolutely mesmerised by the usual. We always put Gavin and Stacey on when we go away. Don't ask me why he loves it so much. I have no idea. But there we go. So this dinner's nearly done. We'll get it on the plate and, well, hopefully. Oh, it's about to boil over. So I think I better go. We'll see you in a bit. So good morning. Did manage to catch a little bit of the sunrise. I'll insert a few little pictures that I sort of took from the bathroom window there.
This morning.
At about, gosh, I think it was about 6 o'clock. I think sunrise was about 7. But hopefully as the week goes on, we'll get a few better shots for you.
That's it.
But we're now heading off, aren't we, on our road trip. We're going to go down to the village of Hope, which is only a few miles away, because we need to stop at campsite, don't we, Stu?
We do. we need to empty the toilet, we need to refill with water, we need to have showers and do some laundry. It's going to cost us about £35 for the night.
Yeah. So when we get to the campsite, obviously we'll make a video of that day. But it's been wonderful staying here on the Old Mam Tor road, and as you can see just behind us here, we woke up to this beautiful view, so can't grumble at that.
No.
But it's not a very nice day today.
No, but we are going to get going now, so we hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you want a little bit more content, we have got a Patreon that you can join, or a YouTube member, for £3 a month.
That's it. And of course, if you want to see some more videos from up here in Derbyshire, we've got our exploring channel where we've done lots of historical sort of explores and look about. So again, check out the description below where there's a link to that.
Yeah.
But here from the Old Mam Tor road and our little explore around the village of Castleton, or the area at least anyway. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye for now.